Hey, you're back! Thanks for coming back to another episode of the Peak Signing Agents Podcast with me, your host, Derek Van Otten, DVO. And I just want to give a quick shout out to a Peak Signing agent out in Florida, Ed Hess. Thank you. He's been commenting a lot of my YouTube videos. He's been giving my podcast recommendations to people on Facebook groups when they have questions. Ed, I appreciate you. I've used Ed in the past. I appreciate you, my friend. And I'll see you coming up soon. Anyway, on this episode, well, in fact, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please subscribe to podcast platforms if you haven't yet. I greatly appreciate it. If you can share the podcast, like it, comment on it, follow it, whatever that you can do on the platform you are using, I appreciate it. And you can watch it on YouTube or Spotify. So, thanks again to everyone that keeps coming back and tuning in. I appreciate it. I want to keep bringing you great value. Your comments fire me up. When I see the comments, when I see people recommending the podcast, it means that I'm bringing value and it keeps me fired up to keep providing these tips and service to you. So thank you, everyone. All right. This episode is going to be part 1 of 3. I'm doing a 3-part episode. This week, part 1. Next week, part 2. The following week, part 3. And it's going to be the pros and cons. Pros and cons of working only with signing services. The pros and cons of going direct. And the pros and cons of starting your own signing service. As a signing service owner, where we do well over 6 figures in revenue annually, I want to give you the tips that I think will help. Whether you're in the process, you're thinking about the process, you're a veteran, you're a rookie, I think the tips I want to give you will help everyone out. Okay, now, let's get into it. Working with signing services. I mean, for most people, that's where you're going to start. You're going to start by working with signing services. That's how I started. I didn't know anything about going direct. That was a foreign concept to me when I started. You know, I was just watching. I didn't have a mentor when I first started. Like I mentioned before, I just was watching some YouTube videos, specifically a lot of Mark Wills from the Loan Signing System. I was watching a lot of his YouTube videos, and that's where I was getting my information from. So I was just working direct. I was Googling signing services and I was just signing up. I didn't realize that the Loan Signing System has a list of over 300 signing services I could have signed up with. I didn't know that. I wish I did. That's why you should definitely sign up to get all the signing services you can. But, you know, I didn't do that. I just was Googling, I was searching, and I was signing up with some. And, you know, when I first got my commission, I got my commission in January, and I didn't do my first signing until June, because I just got my commission as a side service, right? I was just like, hey, if I can notarize something for my friends or clients, then sure, no problem. And I didn't realize what a lucrative opportunity it was that I didn't even know about. But anyway, I'm halfway in my second commission, and I had to order a new stamp already. Because I stamp so much, or I'm stamping too hard. I don't know. I'm either stamping too hard or stamping too much. But anyway, I have to order a new stamp like every 2 years. It's kind of funny. So, signing services are great. There's nothing wrong with signing services. A lot of people want to almost like demonize the idea of working only with signing services and you need to go direct. Hey, I don't think that at all. When I first started, like I said, I got my commission in January. I didn't do my first signing until June. And you know what? When I signed up for signing services, the next day I got my first signing. This was in 2017. So I got my first signing and I didn't get paid for it. Can you imagine that? I know I talked about it in my earlier episodes. I didn't get paid for my very first signing. In fact, that company, I did 2 signings for them within the same month, and I didn't get paid for both of those. In my first 10 signings, I didn't get paid for 4 of them. Imagine if I would have quit because of that, right? I don't let people or things discourage me. If I have a vision, if I have a goal, I'm shooting for it. So anyway, I did my first signing in June. Again, it was on the side. I was quitting my job, or I was in the process of thinking about quitting my job. And so I thought, okay, if I can focus on this business and do a couple signings here and there, that will help supplement my income from the job I had. And my business started slowing down. I thought, what if I just kind of focus more on the signings? And that happened in the fall of 2017. I said, I'm going to focus I'm going to focus full time. And then within 12 months, I've made 6 figures working with signing services. Not one direct. I didn't have one direct. Well, I shouldn't. Okay. I didn't have one direct title, escrow, mortgage company. I didn't have one direct. It was all signing services. I made 6 figures my first year starting in 2017. This was before the refinance boom because interest rates dropped due to COVID. All right, I'm just telling you guys this because it can be done. It can be done. So, I'll go more about my stories. We talk about the pros and cons of going direct and all of that. But on this episode specifically, I'm talking about only working with signing services, the pros and cons of it. Because I don't think there's nothing wrong with it. I think if you're happy working with signing services because you don't want to go direct, I think there's nothing wrong with that. You can make a great income doing it. Again, I made 6 figures my first year only working with signing services. I mean, my first 2 years, maybe 3. I mean, I was only working with signing services. The idea of going direct didn't really hit me a lot. So, let's talk about the pros and cons. But first, I want to talk about the cons because I want to end with the positivity. I always want to end with the positivity. So, I know this is the pros and cons, but we're going to go cons and pros. So, I got my notes here. So, you're going to see me if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify. I'm going to kind of glance down at my notes. I am very sure I'm going to forget something. I've tried to plan this out for the last week, and I know as soon as I hit stop, I'm going to be like, oh, I forgot to talk about this. And I know there's tons of pros and cons, okay? I'm going to talk about more of the bigger items, okay? There's a lot about pros and cons, but I'm talking about the big items. So, what are some of the cons? The cons are, it's probably the number one con, probably the number one negative thing about working with signing services, you're going to get a lower fee. Right? There's a finder's fee to the signing service who got that client. So you're going to get, and they're going to keep a percentage of it. There's nothing wrong with that. That is business in America. That's capitalism. So there's nothing wrong with that. Right? You just had to sit there and answer your phone. You just had to answer your phone. Yes, I'm available. No, I'm not available. You didn't have to do anything. You didn't have to leave the house essentially. You just had to respond to the message. So the con is you're not going to get the whole fee. You're going to get a portion of the fee. It's going to be most likely the larger portion of the fee. You're probably going to get maybe half or 2/3 of the fee, but you're not getting the whole fee. So that is one of the negative side behind it. The other negative side, the other con of working only with signing services, most likely you're going to do a lot of scan backs. They want scans. They want to look over your scans, make sure you did good quality work. Now, I will say, if you've worked with a company, a signing service for a long time, they probably aren't going to always ask you for scans forever, unless the title company does want them. But like for me, for example, a signing service owner, when I first work with a signing agent, I am asking for scan backs. I want to check their work. But if I've worked with them 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, I don't ask for scans anymore. You can ask the people that I work with a lot, especially local people in my area that I use a lot. I don't ask for scans after a while because they sent me scans on the first 2, 3, 4 that they did. They looked great to me. I know they're probably going to do a good job. But I did post on my social media this week about a situation that arose where scan backs really helped the signer. We've had crazy snowfall here in my local state of Utah. We're in April, and it's still snowing. This is the first weekend. It's Easter weekend, by the way. We're actually having good weather. It's going to be in the 60s. But we've had snow until then. We've had snow, and it was like record snow. It's a state record is what I'm saying. So what happened with that is that there are UPS and FedEx delays because of the weather. Because of the weather, there are delays. So we had a signer. They signed, they're buying a new property. It was in another state. So they bought the property. I always ask for scan backs because I never worked with a signing agent before. They sent me scan backs. They dropped off the package in a timely manner. It was before the last pickup in their state. Their state has nice weather. But when it got to our state, the weather delayed it being delivered to the title company. So I track it. I tracked it the night before. It was on track to be delivered the next day. I'm like, great. I don't have to worry about it. Brush my hands off of it. The next morning, title reached out and said, hey, we're not getting the package today. It's going to be delivered tomorrow. By chance, do you have copies of it? And I said, yes, I do. Luckily, the notary sent me scans like I requested. and they were able to still fund the house because they could see the package was arriving. They have scans to work with. The people were still able to buy their house out of state. They were out of state, moving to Utah, and because of scans, they were able to get their house. How grateful do you think those signers are? How excited do you think my title company is with me? My title company is so excited with me as a signing service that I have scans for them. But that means I'm excited with this notary. In fact, the notary sent me an email the next day, the day it was supposed to arrive, and said, oh, here's my notary package. I have everyone send me a notary package. A lot of you have sent me a notary package that I request. She sent it back to me and said, hey, by the way, thank you for the scans. You don't realize this. I know scans can be a pain in the ass. I get it. I totally get it. Luckily, I have the mobile office that I'm recording out of with a mobile scanner, and I just jump in the back here, do scans, and it's not a big deal for me. But I understand for some people they have to drive back home and do scans, and then drive back to UPS or FedEx. And I told this notary signing agent, I said, thank you. Because you did scan backs, and they were good quality scan backs. They weren't like with your phone. You actually used a scanner. Title was able to use those scans and fund this loan because UPS delayed it. Now, your fault. You did everything right, but because of the weather, because of Mother Nature, it's not going to be delivered in time, and the people were not going to get their home in time. But because of your scans, they were. Anyway, I know it's a little extra long story, just to say, I understand scans are a pain in the ass, but they help. This is not the first time this winter season that scans have helped people. This was just the most recent story. A lot of times, UPS, FedEx are delaying because of the weather. And it's not their fault, right? It's the weather. And scans have helped people get their money due to a sale. So anyway, the cons of working only with signing services, most likely you will have to do a lot of scan backs. So get a mobile scanner. It'll make your job easier. Oh, here's the other one. I just talked about the finder fee, right? The lower fee, because all you have to do is just respond to a text or email. Well, you're most likely not the only one getting those texts or emails. It's getting sent to the masses a lot of times. It's just you have to be quick on the trigger. You have to be quick. You have to respond the fastest to say, yes, I am available, or no, I'm not available, or I have to counter with this fee because of the distance or the fee or whatever it is, the pay. So that's another negative of working with only signing services is getting sent out to the masses. You have to be the quickest one to respond to say, yes, I am available. I want it. So that is the cons of working only with signing service. Obviously, the biggest one is they're going to pay you a lower fee. But you need to understand that, okay? As long as you understand that, like, yeah, I don't have to go market. I don't have to do anything. I just have to accept the fee. I just have to accept it. You can still make a great living working with signing services. So, what are the pros? What are the pros of working with signing services? You can actually go direct with signing services. So, if you've been used a couple times by the same signing service, you can call them up and just say, hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for using me. Just so you know, I'm available in this area. Please feel free to reach out to me directly. And, you're not trying to steal their client. You're just saying, hey, signing service, reach out to me. Sometimes they might, if it's like a local place near you, they might have you drop it off. Now, you don't want to go market to that title or escrow company because that'll make you look bad. But you can just say, hey, I brought the documents. I did the signing for you yesterday. I'm bringing these over. But just so you know, I'm from the area. If you have more work in this area that you can't get to, let your signing service know to request me. So you can go direct with signing services. I had signing services that just called me. They didn't send me mass texts or emails like they sent to everyone. They just called me. Hey, Derek, are you available this time, this location? That's all they did. I went direct with signing services. And a lot of times they increased my fee because they knew I didn't have to do scan backs anymore. They knew I was going to bring them good quality work. I didn't have any mistakes. I did a few signings for them. No mistakes. They didn't ask for scans. They increased my fee. I do that with a lot of the local notaries here. I start off at a lower fee with scans. After a while, I increase the fee and don't ask for scans. Because it's just something I don't have to worry about. It's just less stress for me. I don't have to check scan backs. I don't have to worry, did they drop it off in time? It's just less stress for me. I'm like, hey, thank you for being a Peak signing agent. Are you available? I'm going to ask you directly. No scans needed. In fact, I'm going to pay you $10-15 extra than I normally do. So you can go direct with signing services. And they just hit you up directly. It's pretty cool. and you might get an increased fee. Or even if you don't get an increased fee, you might get an increased volume. So they just go to you directly. There's just more work coming for you. And the number one pro, in my opinion, about working only with signing services is there's no stress to deny it. Because there's algorithms with signing platforms, okay? There's algorithms. You want to respond. You want to respond yes or no, you're not available. Because if you don't respond at all, it shows the algorithm that you're not even responding. You might get less opportunities coming your way. Because there's like, we're not going to send it to the signing agent. They don't even respond whether they are or not available. So you might get out of the algorithm. So you always want to respond whether you are or not available. Even if you need a calendar with a higher fee or a different time, you always want to respond in some capacity. Even if you're saying you're not available, that's fine. Just respond though. But if let's say you're on vacation, right? If you're a signing agent, you don't have to ask permission. You don't need to request time off. If you want to go on vacation, you just go on vacation. If you don't feel well, you don't need to call in and try to make it sound like it's real because, everyone thinks you're lying when you call in sick. You don't need to do that, right? You're self-employed. If you're a signing agent, you don't need to worry about that. If you don't want to work that day, if you just don't want to work, like let's say you had a busy Monday through Thursday, you were just busy. And you're like, I need a long weekend. I just need to take this Friday off. There's no stress. You can just respond, email or text, just respond, no, I'm not available. There's no stress, right? You don't have to worry about it. Because I will tell you, if you go direct, you do feel more obligated to say yes. I will say that. You do feel more obligated to say yes. But when you work only with signing services, you can just say no. You can just say no. No, I don't want to work this day. No, I'm on vacation. No, I'm with family. You can just say, I call signing agents all the time. But hey, are you available? Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm out of town right now. Hey, enjoy your time off. Right? It's no stress. There's just no worry about that. You can just say, no, I'm not available. And you can say in a professional way, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm not available right now. I'm out of town. I'm on vacation. I took the day off. I don't feel well. But please call me if you have another one in the area. I'm more than happy to help. Just today, I'm busy. You can just say that, and there's no stress. No signing service is going to get mad at you, like, oh, how dare they say no to me? They're just like, oh, okay, I'll just reach out to the next person. That is probably for me the beauty. When I was full-time, I was a full-time signing agent, I only worked with signing services. That was the beauty of it. I could just go go on vacation, take a day off, and there just was no stress. I could just say, no, I'm not available. And that was nice. So I'm not telling anybody on this podcast, I'm not telling anyone that yes, you need to be working with signing services. Yes, you need to go direct. Yes, you need to start a signing service. Or no, you don't do any of those things. I'm just telling you all the pros and cons. And I want you to find out what best fits your schedule, your lifestyle, and say, yeah, this is how I want to work. And maybe it's a mix of going direct and working with signing services. Let's talk about that on the next episode. So if you like this, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like, give it a comment, share it. And I'll catch you on the next episode because you are awesome. Talk to you later.